Welcome to the Crypto Bits. My name is Johnny Stang. Hope you are well. Pretty much every single day I host live streams talking about mainly Holochain, but we do a lot of discussions in relation to many of the other cryptocurrencies that myself are invested in and a lot of the followers are invested in as well. But today I really wanted to break down Holochain in relation to the paper, the Holo Currency White Paper that has been released. Now, there is a person on Twitter who I follow, and his name is Jesus. Jesus is absolutely committed to understanding Holo and Holochain and has a fantastic Twitter profile. Jesus375 is their username. If you please go along and follow them, because the information that they give out in relation to Holo and Holochain is by far better than possibly most of the people that I know within the crypto space. There are others, for example, Ernova, who do give out some incredible information and really dig deep into what Holochain and Holo is all about. But this one did catch my interest, and me and Jesus had a good conversation today in relation to the currency white paper that has been released. So Jesus says, found an interesting info in the Holo currency paper before and want to share it. It's about Holo and that its management will be transferred to the participants after launch. There were some questions in relation to how quickly after launch will its management be transferred to the participants. Obviously, we cannot answer that question in relation to when things are going to happen after launch. I mean, the fact that we are very, very close to launch now gets me super excited. So, in relation to what Jesus has said, the currency paper, page 5, under infrastructure and fees, third paragraph says, the fees are not only for current maintenance and service, but to fund the future features and infrastructure expansion. We'll provide tools for crowd direction of a significant portion of these funds as part of our commitment to transition Holo to a purely digital entity managed by its participants. At the time of launch, the percentages and timelines will be established so that the structure of this management can be coded into the governance of Holo itself. Reference 22 says, participatory government of the Holo ecosystem will eventually be implemented as a sovereign accountable comms, or SAC, Holochain's version of the decentralized autonomous organization. He then posts the information about the white paper, which is what I'm going to go through tonight. And the idea of having a basic screen is so that you can listen to this white paper anywhere. So, in relation to the currency white paper, which can be found on the holo.host website, we're going to talk about Holo cryptocurrency infrastructure for global scale and stable value. So, in terms of the abstract, we present a cryptocurrency design pattern scalable and efficient enough to operate on global scale without specialized hardware and without consensus. We combine the principles of double entry accounting with cryptographic signing to instantiate a new form of tokenless cryptocurrency. We provide optimizations to enable the tracking and billing for the trillions of network interactions per second required to run a global scale decentralized hosting platform. We propose a blend of automation akin to smart contracts with engineered visibility to enable better decisions by human agents. Finally, we explore security considerations relative to blockchain-based currencies. So this paper focuses on Holo's currency and crypto accounting system and is published in tandem with another paper detailing Holo's approach to practical scaling and distributed applications to serve mainstream internet users. These solutions are intertwined. The distributed computation power Holo applications is the asset backing its currency, and the operation of that hosting infrastructure relies on the currency engine described herein to manage its internal economy. To increase accessibility to a wider audience, each formalized mathematical section is preceded by an explanation in more plain language. So they introduce clearing blockchain hurdles. Holo is a decentralized hosting platform built on an architecture called Holochain. Holo fulfills on the promise of blockchain by leveraging the scalable architecture of Holochain to accomplish two primary feats: enable fully functional decentralized applications, far more sophisticated than smart contracts, to serve mainstream internet users, and to provide the massively scalable crypto accounting infrastructure required to host and manage applications, such enormous volumes of usage. In recent years, blockchain and things that run on blockchain have risen in popularity and entered into more mainstream awareness. This has generated excitement around new possibilities for decentralized approaches to currencies, web applications, data ownership, and collective governance. Some early implementations have been demonstrably useful, yet large-scale applications have been hampered by current architectures. The focus on the specific architecture of blockchain has yielded a kind of tunnel vision, even though its massive inefficiencies and scalable hurdles are well known. Blockchain currently consumes more than 0.1% of the world's electricity to power less than 0.0001% of the world's finances, in the form of crypto tokens with wildly fluctuating speculative value and no inherent redeemability. Some devotees claim the value of cryptocurrency is based on how much energy it wastes to use it, rather than requiring specialized processes for massive computation for mining. We present an alternative approach to reach large scales even with low-powered computing devices. The paper that I'm reading has three major sections. After a brief description of the underlying platform Holo is built on, the first section details the design constraints and considerations that drive the architectural aspects of the cryptocurrency. The second section outlines the details and dynamics by which the currency operates, and the third section identifies security considerations and how they are addressed, security issues that remain in question, and suggests for what can be done to minimize risks. So in terms of the underlying technology framework, in order to cover details of the cryptocurrency design, such as countersigned transactions, pre-authorization tokens, and supply dynamics, we need to establish some terminology and basic understanding of the Holochain architectural approach. Holochain is a crypto operating system. While it does not follow the pattern of blockchain or other decentralized consensus systems, it provides a wholly innovative means of ensuring data integrity for peer-to-peer applications without using consensus. In the white paper, the absence of references of proof of work and proof of stake or leader selection algorithms are not an oversight, nor due to unfamiliarity with established approaches to distributed computing or blockchain architectures. The approach using Holo does not waste computing power on these proofs, nor on any type of global ledger consensus at all. Holochain ensures data integrity for distributed applications through careful provenance of data published from each agent's local immutable chain. Public entries to local chains are then shared to a content addressable distributed hash table known as DHT. Nova talks about DHT quite a lot. Unpredictably, selected peers validate cryptographic signatures, enforce data schemas, and application logic. Using this pattern of local immutable chains with headers notarized by an eventually consistent DHT, Holochain introduces an agent-centric pattern for data integrity rather than data-centric absolute frame, which is what creates the need for consensus. Once a developer learns to do this kind of inversion in their thinking, from data-centric to agent-centric, then building a distributed application on Holochain becomes much easier and many orders of magnitude more computationally efficient than applications built for scale on blockchain. You need to consult the Holochain White Paper for more technical formalized information about the architecture. At the time of publication, Holochain is already in alpha release with a number of important early applications. So, the design constraints. Holo currency requirements. Holo is intended to be scalable, secure, and stable enough to be foundation for a new crypto economy. To accomplish this, Holo must provide high-speed crypto accounting, massive transaction volumes with high enough efficiency to minimize overhead, and a cryptocurrency which is stable enough for normal people to rely on for their livelihoods. It must also be structured with proper incentives for participation and provide adequate resources for maintenance of its infrastructure. Holo mobilizes computing resources which is fairly easily measured in terms of bandwidth, storage, and CPU time or cycles. As network computing power and access to high-speed connectivity expands, costs and prices will be driven downward. The fee infrastructure involved with traditional financial transactions does not map well onto this problem space, owing to the very small but very frequent transactions it services. The toll of having to pay a bank a 3% charge plus a 25-cent transaction fee on a 0.00025 transaction obviously makes such a system unfeasible. People can't pay over 1,000 times the cost of computing power in transaction fees. The computational overhead of blockchain poses the same problem. When every node must agree about every state change on the global ledger, it takes drastically more computing to account for that bit of computation than the original computation provided. The computational costs of consensus management, whether through the hash churning of proof of work or the betting markets of proof of stake, requires an unnecessary amount of extra state processing that carries inherent scaling limitations. One should not incur millions of times of the computing power in accounting overhead to provide a small amount of hosting. In summary, the first constraints which guide the design of Holo's currency system is that it must cost less in computing cycles and in fees than the original computing and funds being counted. Holo to service mainstream internet markets, it must be able to host large peer-to-peer versions of applications similar to Slack, Twitter, or even Facebook. Accounting capacities for the computation obviously must scale with the application's usage. As such, Holo must exceed the capacities and current blockchain throughput of a few thousand transactions per second by at least 1 million-fold. With widespread enough usage, we expect to surpass financial exchange backbones like the Visa network, which has a maximum estimated capacity of 56,000 transactions per second. So in terms of the proof of service, for Holo to serve the trillions of small computational interactions that it will need to handle, Holo designed its currency system to support millions of transactions per second and account for service positions in batches. The batching is facilitated by signed service logs, which record signs requests and their associated signs response, along with underlying computational metrics to deliver them. When the log on a device accumulates through microcharges to cross the billing threshold, in terms of time elapsed or charges accumulated, it generates a proof of service invoice for the services performed. In terms of infrastructure and fees, and this is what Hesu was talking about today, Holochain is a fully peer-to-peer architecture that enables applications to run with no centralization at all. However, to bridge between a fully peered world and the website functionality people are familiar with, Holo builds the bridge to centralized web. Full details are on the hosting paper, but one example involved enabling people to type a domain name into their web browser and provide DNS to resolve to in order to connect them to a cluster of hosts for the application they are trying to reach. We are used to thinking of the web as decentralized. But once someone has experienced fully decentralized spaces with no global addresses or name authorities, no root servers, only content addressability via cryptographic hashes, then the aspects of centralization in the existing pattern of web and internet become apparent. So the Holo organization not only provides the necessary the infrastructure to interface with centralized web, but maintains that infrastructure and provides security updates for the Holo software and DNS services. The funds for doing this are built into tiny transaction fees on each transaction, since ongoing funding for open source infrastructure projects has often been challenging. This is one strategy to alleviate this issue. Half of Holo transaction fees go towards Holochain. The fees are not only for current maintenance and services, but to fund future features and infrastructure expansion. We'll provide tools for crowd direction of a significant portion of these funds as part of our commitment to transition Holo to a purely digital entity managed by its participants. At the time of launch, the percentages and timelines will be established so that the structure of this management can be coded with the governance of Holo itself. While speculators may enjoy the volatility of cryptocurrency markets, most individuals and businesses are wary of relying on a form of payment with large and drastic fluctuations in value. For a majority to engage with Holo and its underlying cryptocurrency, the market value of its inputs should be optimized for a steady and stable trajectory, variably growing in value over time. While this may sound like an impossible or naive design parameter, it is incorporated into the design of Holo's cryptocurrency. Holo offers a whole new breed of cryptocurrency. Unlike its predecessors, it is not a crypto token or a crypto coin, but a mutual credit accounting system where every transaction is countersigned on the local chains of both counterparties. This allows us to design the crypto credits to forge new patterns of social and market behaviors that have not been previously possible. Blockchain-based currencies are token-based. The crypto coin is actually a cryptographic token with an associated unit value and a private key, which is used to spend that coin. A blockchain ledger provides the definitive list of all coins. By recording the creation of each coin and each following transaction, in blockchain, each transaction actually destroys prior coins when they are spent and creates new coins. The recipient of the transaction controls the private key of the coins paid to them, while the sender maintains the control of the keys for any coin created as change left over from the original coin sent. Blockchain ledgers require consensus strategies because everyone must agree about what coins exist and what coins have been destroyed. When no coins exist, no consensus is required. Instead of a token-centric ontology that requires computational overhead invested in establishing consensus, Holo uses an agent-centric ontology. Basically, this provides an upgrade to traditional double-entry accounting by using cryptographic signatures committed to immutable chains as accounts. In this double-entry accounting method, instead of managing a global ledger of coins, each agent or user or account manages its own local chain of transactions. This means that each person's balance is encoded on their own chain. So when two people transact, they only need to audit their counterparty's history to be sure they have the credits they're spending. They need neither permission nor consensus from anyone else. One party's balance goes up and the other party's balance goes down in equal measure. Another result of having no coins is the fact that every transaction is perfectly counterbalanced, including the initialization of the system. Rather than minting a plethora of coins for the organization in an ICO, all the money raised by pre-sale of hosting credits is debited from Holo's account when the pre-sold amounts are credited to the buyer's account. Every credit has an offsetting debit, and having receiving the funds for the purchases, Holo's account starts off by carrying this debt. The transaction fees described earlier are the fundamental methods for earning against the debt. The revenue structure ensures that incentives stay aligned with the need to support a robust infrastructure, and that Holo is incentivized to keep fee from becoming so onerous that it makes competing systems too attractive. Moreover, the Holo account balance always shows the status of its net value contribution, meaning that the organization is transparently held to account for all the funding it receives. There is lots more in relation to this paper that I have missed out. I've just gone through the specific information that we are still waiting for beta to happen. Holoports are currently being rolled out. We should hopefully receive them within the next 4 weeks. And then I'll be doing a live unboxing, giving you a full understanding breakdown of what a Holoport is, how a Holoport works, and how you would get paid Holo Fuel. So there you go, team. Have a wonderful night. Great to see you all. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more Holo, more crypto information. This has been a big one for me. It's a great white paper, very in-depth, very detailed. But I hope it kind of switches you on onto why Holochain is different from blockchain that we see today. So until then, team, peace.